Welcome to Talk Cosmos, the show where Sue Rose Minahan and her panel of guests bring you insightful conversation growth. Come journey with us through astrology's energetic cycles and get ready to understand your path in the cosmic roots of the stars.
Hello, everybody. I'm Sue Minahan, Talk Cosmos, and this is August 17th. Yes, it is. That's right. And we're having, summer has happened. And as we flow into one day into the next, it's really a matter of redigesting a lot of things. But you know what? That's not our subject in a way right now because Mercury passed, and our real subject is the new moon coming up in a week. So we'll just get right to it. We're time for archetypal symbols. We're ready for
synthesizing the new moon consciousness through archetypal Sabian symbols, numerology, lunar mansions, tarot, and astrology, all together illuminating a new moon vision story. This is your Archetypal Symbols panel.
I'm Sue Rose Minahan, founder of Talk Cosmos since 2018. I'm an evolutionary astrologer, consultant, speaker, writer, vibrational astrology student, Dwarf Planet University graduate, Kepler Astrology Toastmasters Club charter member. I have a fine arts music degree plus a certificate in jazz. I'm an artist, musician, and certified color energy life coach. Especially, I love mythology and esoteric philosophies.
I'm Elizabeth Liz Muschett, a professional astrologer, intuitive, numerologist, and tarot reader. I'm a certified sacred healing counselor, providing nurturing, in-depth consultations for individuals and couples. I'm an author, blogger, speaker, and international Reiki master and teacher. I create safe space in which to explore the deeper patterns of your life, to clarify your current circumstances and help you find your best path forward.
And I'm Justin Crockett Elzie, an archetypal Jyotish astrologer, yoga and meditation teacher, and author. I combine both Western ancient astrology and modern psychological astrology with Eastern Vedic astrology, and I specialize in predictive, electoral, and karmic astrology for individuals and couples. I also do in-depth astrological research into arcane astrological concepts, focusing on the mystical, occult side of astrology.
Eleanor Roosevelt once said, "Yesterday is history, tomorrow is a mystery, and today is a gift." And that's why it's called the present.
Hello, Liz. Hello, Justin. Hi.
Hi, Sue.
Yeah.
It's great to be back.
Yep.
It is. And there's so much to say that actually sometimes openings are just better said together. You know, we have two new moons. I guess I could have said that. This is the first one. 0 degrees from the alpha to beta, right? From 0 degrees. The next one will be an eclipse and it'll be 29 degrees. Well, maybe we'll just get started. It's about discriminating power, the glory of Virgo. It's so.
I was gonna say something, if I may, just as a thought. Maybe we bring it into the conversation later. But it's also interesting with these two Virgo moons. This is the year where the lunar south node is going all the way through Virgo. So there's definitely some connection with the lunar south node going through Virgo this year. And these two Virgo moons, you know, the beginning of the zodiac sign and the end of the zodiac sign, right?
Ooh, wouldn't that be something like right now is a forecast of what it will be. And when we get to 29, it's kind of like a reset of what it was in reverse, because motions are always going forwards and backwards. You know, primary, secondary motion. Thank you. That's a mind toggle. I like it.
Work on this Virgo energy of, analyzing and discriminating against, our lives, say.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. In fact, just looking at the parallel between last time and this time, it was Leo. And interestingly, Mercury is still in Leo, but we will be entering the sun in Virgo. So it's, what I'm getting at is, well, we'll go ahead, because there's a relationship. There's a relationship there. How to refine what is our product. Anyway, well, I guess that's what we're talking about here. The South Node, exactly. Mercury ruling that, because the fact is that Mercury is in Leo still. It's not in the Virgo that wants to I'm muddle mouth here. Help me out. Sorry.
The discrimination and the analysis, and look at, and even our health for that matter. So it's and it's answering to Mercury and Leo.
Yes, it is. It is a time once again for that new moon intention, and interestingly, because we're still in the Mercury retrograde. Sometimes I forget just when we're at the moment here where we are, because I'm working on this project and I've got the next one and the different systems. But no, we're direct. It's direct. It's just that we're retreading that path, that second path.
That post shadow path, that it's retracing those steps of the Mercury retrograde, and it's almost out of it 2 days after the new moon. So, maybe there's some reworking of your last month's moon intentions, and, kind of adjust them and step them up for this month.
Yep. And that'll really won't it be an open time a couple days after, like if it's the 23rd, well, not if, but the new moon is on the 23rd, and Mercury goes out of its shadow at 15 degrees on the 25th, then it's still a crescent moon with the light beginning to empower.
Yeah, you'll see 2 days later, you'll see the sliver of the moon in the sky. So it's like a day and a half to 2 days later that you see that sliver from the moon, the dark moon, new moon, to the sliver. So
yes,
that's what I like. That's when I like to initiate my new moon intentions.
And a perfect time, because we'll be out of the past. We can really present our hopes and intentions for the next time. That's where the universe is working it out with us.
And I would say with those intentions, since it's at 0 degrees, sun and moon, it's like, don't be attached to the how, just put the intentions out and the how will come, because it's like too early for the how.
Yes, that's always strong to remember. So the Hermit, the major arcana is 9, and it parallels really strongly with that need to internal discoveries, the solitude, just to introspect and improve, for how it looks.
Right. And to tap into that wisdom that's there within yourself.
Yeah.
Anything you want to say, Justin?
Yeah, well, Virgo energy is very indicator of intelligence, and it is one of the signs that Mercury rules. So and so it has a really good analysis. So I like how you have wisdom on here. And so I always find, when the 0 degrees of the zodiac sign is sort of like the ace in the suit. It represents the whole energy of the suit. And so to me, that 0 degrees Virgo encompasses all 30 degrees of the Virgo energy. That discriminating power, objectivity, extreme objectivity, and analysis.
And of course, the Magician, totally that transmutation, which is the word that we came up, and the beginning point. It's really a powerful moment. It all begins just like a root, dark in the seed. I mean, the seed is in the earth. It illuminates it, gets that foundation and strength to
Well,
to
you know,
grow.
speaking of Virgo energy this year, I think it's important to note that Mercury is coming right behind its trailing Mars having gone through Virgo. So we're seeing the succession of, you know, the overarching theme of the year is the Virgo energy, the South Node Ketu going through Virgo, churning up, changing, and basically that Virgo energy improving things. And then Mars comes along and goes, okay, now it's time to strategize, think about it. And then Mercury's coming right behind it, you know, and I think this is the time, as you all are really focusing on Mercury here when it goes through Virgo, is to really put things into place that Mars initiated, you know.
Mm.
That's great. And, you know, the energy of the above and below and bringing it to the center and working with that. So it's like collecting information on every side and then making a really good decision.
I'm ready. Thank you. And we're returning to our 3-story process of the Sabians: past, present, future. Let's see it all. Let's understand what the kernel is. Look, that's Kernel, not kernel, like salute. Sorry. And it was in 1925 with spiritualist medium, Elzie and astrologer Mark Edmund Jones. And it really gives us that insight into another avenue, the prism of this mystery that we're all part of in life. So again, this will be on August 23rd, 2025, and on the East Coast at 2 a.m. It's 2:06. And you just have to wait 18 seconds, and then it'll be. But we have a Cancer ascendant, at the midheaven above. It'll be actually a trine as far as energy. It's another water sign. It's Pisces, and then the Virgo moon. So there's a real interesting, almost another Thales energy here. It's not by degree, but by energy, because it's an opposite 2 signs. And then there's that sextile trine. So for the United States, maybe that's a little abstract. Let's delete that. We'll jump on. Okay, we're going to go right to the ascendant at 6 degrees Cancer. And so the past is 5 degrees, and it's a railroad crossing. An automobile has been wrecked by a train, and although it's tragic, it's just that if we pit ourselves carelessly against the power of the collective will of society. So it's karmic readjustment. That's paraphrasing it. Go ahead, Liz.
And then the present degree of Cancer 6, a game bird feathering their nests. It's a dedication to the self, to a new form of life. And the key word is symbiosis. I think I said that right.
Mm-hmm. Symbiosis. Yeah. Okay. Good enough.
And then what it's moving towards is the 7 degrees Cancer is 2 nature spirits dancing under the moonlight. And so we have this play of invisible forces. And basically, it represents creative imagination.
So altogether, let's digest this a little bit as far as what it interprets, as far as that entire intention. It is a lot of water, emotion, psychic feelings, in a sense. I would put, just looking at the Cancer, it's strong.
Well, to me, it's actually giving us an insight in that something new is beginning here with the game birds feathering their nest, and that whatever this new moon is, and we're starting something new, that we need to nurture it and use our creative imagination, and that's all I see from that.
Yeah, nurturing is important. If you don't have you can try, but I often think like a plant. You can give it too much water, too little water. It's a give and take. Nurturing is, if you're going to really nurture it, you're going to do it the way that whoever it is receiving from it.
Right. And there's change, and you just have to go with that flow. And the creative imagination, it's like the first idea might not totally work, but then, you know, you keep coming up with more creative ideas and continue.
That's inspiring. Thank you. Now for the MC, and that's how we are strongly exhibiting ourselves in the outer world, or seen by in the demonstrating in the outer world. It's Pisces, the last sign of the zodiac, and it's right in the middle. So the early one is a lady wrapped in a large stole of fox fur. So it's using both the intelligent mentality to protect ourselves against the trials and difficulties of life, might say the storms, protective shielding. Liz.
And then the present degree, Pisces 15, an officer instructing his men before a simulated assault under a barrage of live shells. The need for rehearsing before any complex and dangerous social ritual in which power is used to evoke. And the key word is valorization. It's a group value dominates the entire scene. So being prepared for the unseen.
And then the Pisces 16 degrees, in the quiet of his study, a creative individual experiences a flow of inspiration. And here we have this reliance upon one's inner inspiration or truth and its subjective strength.
So let's digest this. I mean, facts and stuff. I mean, I've got to see the whole idea. What you thought, what's happening.
Well, what I see here is that as we move forward in starting this new moon, new intentions, you know, we've got to nurture that nest, trust our creative imagination. But here we're also being reminded that we need to, you know, give without expecting anything back, that valorization, and really trust our own inner inspiration and guidance, and set some boundaries and protection as we start something new.
That is such good sense. And I say that not just idly, but really on a very personal basis, without trying to expand on my experience. But I know that it's really that trust. That's the word that comes up, that says that in the unseen, such as you were both, I don't know, Liz mentioning about the, because there is a give and take here. It is, have faith of it. You know, we're, the message.
And being prepared or getting prepared. Like, you know, I live north of Seattle and we have earthquakes here and there's volcanoes around, and they're saying that, you know, possibly we're due for somewhere on the west coast of the United States an earthquake. So how can we prepare? Well, in October, I'm taking the CERTS training, the Community Emergency Response Training. So that's how I'm going to prepare.
Well, I'm going to get rid of my storage unit so it won't fall apart. I'm thinking that's nothing related. Okay, let's lead on. Now, the new moon itself, 0 degrees. And so we go back to Leo, because it's only between 0 to 30 degrees, but this is usually rounds up. So therefore it would be in Leo. It's an unsealed letter, so that our thoughts, we begin to understand and realize that everything that we have, all our thoughts, all our messages are really transported to the world. They're unspoken, yet it doesn't mean that what you have to hear it. It has an impact. It does have meaning. It changes the vibrations of life. And it's a matter of sharing.
And then the present is Virgo 1, and a portrait, the significant feature of a man's head are artistically emphasized. The capacity to picture oneself clearly, features and overall meaning of any life situation. And the keyword is discrimination, and it's both about analysis and intuition. So it's like pay attention to all that and separate. You know, it could be discriminating. Is this false or is it true? And, you know, looking into it, maybe part of it's false and part of it's true. I mean, sometimes nothing's 100% either.
Yeah, and I did not state, but the most important, not just sharing, but this very fact, because if everything we talk about is just being unhidden, because there is the spiritual everything, then we have to realize that we're channels, that what we're giving and what we're speaking is not just because of our individual wondrous self. There's a energy.
And then Virgo 2 degrees, a large white cross dominates the landscape. And here we have the wisdom and compassion, which only the experience of suffering and isolation can bring. And what we see here is a liberating ordeal and understanding the depth of our being as we go through these experiences.
Well, looking at all of this, I would guess that for a new moon at 0 degrees Virgo, which is using our mental, Virgo is totally with Virgo, Mercury, and strong in that energetic consciousness, that to begin with faith, which is, I mean, all of this seems so elementary, but it's really focusing not to look for the outcome, and also to realize that there is give and take. Lead on. I'm just trying to just
go ahead, Liz.
Well, that's 0 degrees. It's like we don't know what's going to happen, but it's asking us to me, it's like a restart or a reboot or a complete new beginning. And you don't know what the outcome is going to be. You just have to try things and proceed forward. And since we have 2 months to work through this energy, that's really amazing. I love that. And then in this chart, we had 6 degrees on the ascending degree and then 15 on the midheaven. So that is a 6. So we have all this 6 energy. And to me, that's about family and, like, you know, finding out, is it our blood family? Is it our friends that become like family to us? How do we fit in with our group, so to speak?
Yes.
Justin?
Yeah. Yeah, I think that, you know, ultimately this new moon is about looking at things very clearly and succinctly without any type of any distractions. And yeah, and when we start something new, I think it's about having a clear objective view of it, and I think that's what we have here.
Yeah, that's most exciting. There's something else later that it seems like this business of choosing our family and knowing our part, our relationship, and yeah, a good beginning. And as you say, we have a whole month to 29. It's just a baby, as they say. It's 0 degrees. The Jyotish lunar mansions and the chakras.
The Jyotish, yes, the
Jyotish.
We usually go over this before because it sets the stage, but I see we've changed this a little bit. That's fine. I mean, things we have here. This is the lunar mansions, and for each of the constellations, there's a mythology around this. And so for this particular one, we are in the Magha Nakshatra in the Pada 2. And there's actually some things wrong on this slide because it was, anyway, the ruling planet is Ketu. The ruling deity is the Petrus, the spirits of the departed ancestors. And it really, this is about what this nakshatra is asking it's actually about ambition and being generous and about leaders and about them bringing some stability to their position. And that's really what this represents.
I see. I think it's fascinating that Petrus, spirits of the departed ancestors, are also part of this. That which is one way of getting that message or that guidance, perhaps, that isn't just ours, but that there's a lineage of strength in leadership.
Yeah. Some of this is not correct on here because it was sent in too early. It's actually the keyword themes are ambition and generous. And the basis above is mourning, and the basis below is leaving the body. So there's this thing with this nakshatra. It's about connection to the ancestors. So
I love that part. That's a real strong part.
Well, and with the South Node also in Virgo, it's like, looking at what is working in our lives and what isn't, and what can we now release. And then I like the part of bringing in our ancestry, because some of our habits or what we do could have been influenced by our ancestors of following a path, and maybe that just doesn't work for us anymore.
Absolutely. Yeah. Once again, realizing, were we conditioned? Have we learned what the process involves? And do we have a new idea that would venture further or beyond it?
Well, and we can release things easily and gently. We don't have to just throw it away.
I like how you talk. That's good. And again, looking at numbers, you brought up that a little bit before, but 0 degrees of endless potentiality. It's who we are with the sun, our core, our internal emotions with the moon, and really focusing within to see, as we've brought up with the service and improvement. But Saturn is also at 0 degrees Aries. And so that's really, not only are we looking at, and those signs aren't exactly, well, they're quincunx, meaning it's a adjustment. So we really have to adjust how we're looking at this endless potential with our new beginning and what's fundamental. Any thoughts?
Well, and not be attached to the outcome. It's like just put it out there and work on it and set it in motion and see what happens. Justin?
No, I don't have anything to say about this.
Okay. Well, we are at a moment where we will come back. Oh boy, and I'll wake up more. We'll see you right back. This is Archetypal Symbols. Thank you so much, Elizabeth Liz Muschett and Justin Crockett Elzie. We'll be right back. Thank you.
While we take a break from this week's edition of Talk Cosmos, let's take a look at this cycle's archetype. We are currently in the Yang period of Leo, ruled by the solar sun. Having departed from a cycle based on the internal process of emotional attachments requiring security and safety, the energy of Leo externally manifests our legacy through children and artistic creations. As a fixed Yang fire sign that desires to ignite actualization, Leo the lion takes the risk to generously exhibit love and welcome all to share their stage with joyous pleasure for living life.
Talk Cosmos brings insightful conversations to awaken consciousness for the soul growth with hour-long programs. Talk Cosmos weekly programs are also available to watch live on the Talk Cosmos YouTube channel and Facebook page. While you're there, make sure you click the like and subscribe buttons so you get the full Talk Cosmos experience. Or if you'd rather listen to the show archives with audio only, the entire podcast collection since 2018 is available on most podcast carriers. And to find out about upcoming programs, sign up for the newsletter at talkcosmos.com. So grab your coffee, tea, or kombucha and enjoy the show.
This is Martha Norwalk every Sunday morning beginning at 9 a.m. Thanks in part to Linda Rasmussen at verticalenergyworldwide.com. We cover the world of animals. This week, August 24th, it's an extra Sunday, and we'll spend most of it with Merritt and Beth Clifton from animals24-7.org. We'll have plenty of time to catch up with everything that's going on with animals around the country, around the world, and boy, is there a lot of stuff. Hope you can join us, Martha Norwalk's Animal World, Sunday morning, 9 a.m. to noon, right here on Alternative Talk, AM 1150.
Real people, real life, real radio. Alternative Talk 1150.
Okay, we're back again. Liz is at lightpath.com and Justin is at his name, Justin Crockett, Elzie.com. And he has a YouTube channel, Astrological Yogi. And Liz has one too at Elizabeth Liz Muschett, and I'm at Talk Cosmos. Liz, if you would tell us what you're doing on your show these days.
Well, I have a variety of shows. I have a part called the Astrology Star Sisters, and we have a number of shows that we do. Sue does the dwarf planets with me, and then Justin joins me for the monthly astrology forecast and the full moon forecast and other miscellaneous shows. And there's lots to see. So stop by, check it out. Thanks.
Yep, it is really dynamic. That's great. And Justin, I know you're going to be presenting at UAC this year, 2026, next year.
Yeah, I'm just doing one of the lunchtime lectures. It's just a small little talk. But I'm doing that on the Sabian Symbols, but I'm also a consulting astrologer, and you can find me on Astrological Yogi on YouTube.
Excellent. And for Talk Cosmos, just to give a little potpourri of what we've done, there was, and I keep some of these up because they're fascinating. They're lots of fun, or interesting, or dynamic. And AstroJam did one on Jupiter and Uranus, and we're going to have one at the end of the month on the solar and lunar eclipses. But then, of course, with Planet Buzz, we have various people that come in, and Rick Levine did one on Uranus, and then Adam Gainsbourg. It was on Mars, but it wasn't just on Mars in Libra. When I say just, it is amazing how Mars is so instrumental, just like what Justin was saying about following up with Mercury, or Mercury following up with Mars. To look at these inner planets really adds, particularly right now, and I know I'm going off on this because I'm inspired by it, but we have, as we will see in a moment in the chart, how the outer planets that have gone into their new signs are staying rock solid because they're so slow that it's a long, enduring experience of an aspect. And we're having what we call a mini trine between Uranus and Pluto, but then also with this conjunction that's coming up in February between Saturn and Neptune. Meanwhile, that by itself is just working. But when a planet comes into Libra, such as Mars did, and it opposes it actually wasn't. It did earlier. Thank you, Liz. You've read my mind. I was thinking about that, but I stopped because it was actually opposing Aries with Neptune and Saturn, and others will be coming up. This is just, it's a portal. It was a portal. So on with that. And then we had swirling kite energy. Again, this kite energy. So I'm just, I guess, excited about that. So check out US Global Currents, because we did I think, a wonderful show about it. And thank you. I have to bring up that I'm on part of a show. Check out winecountryspeakers.org. On October 4th, it's free, 2.5 hours. I'm one of 8 people, and you can't see it there, but I'm the 4th speaker, and I'm going to be talking about the emotional content, our emotional compass, but there's lots to do. And Fractal Cosmos, it's a vibrational astrology conference, the first one. It's online, pretty reasonable at the Labor Day weekend. fractalcosmos.org. Let's get involved with Mercury here for a moment. It's the ruler of Virgo. It's K2, such as Justin pointed out, our south node. We're about not even a year into it. We have another year left as we go through the rest of the degrees. And the Mercury path that will be ending on the 25th, started back the beginning of July. But this new moon happening on the 23rd, again, as we've pointed out, will be just a few days before it actually finishes its path. So the point I put this chart up is just that if you personally are involved with Mercury somehow in your chart, if you have Gemini or any mutable sign, there's so many ways to look at it, whether it's trined or whether it's square. This would possibly give you a little feedback about how it's working for you. There isn't, with the sun and moon, there's not so much happening, but it is square Uranus. That internal unity of our sun and our moon. It's wanting to work with the moment that's happening. Oh, pow, pow, pow. Liz, any thoughts, Justin?
Because Uranus is in Gemini, which is ruled by Mercury, and the sun and moon are in Virgo, which is ruled by Mercury. So even though Mercury isn't in that square, they're all answering or speaking with Mercury. So there's some tension between the sun and moon and Uranus, because Uranus wants to just like make the change now, and perhaps the sun and moon are like slow it down. And then Mercury's in Leo, not quite out of that shadow. So there could be still a little bit of reprocessing or rethinking of how to make that work.
That's tight. Any other things that you see in this chart? Both,
Justin, we can't hear you.
Yeah, I think that anything that where we have this square. Anytime there's a square with Uranus and it's in the sign of Gemini along with Virgo, there's going to be this changing of ideas, analyzing ideas and change. It's about change of ideas and direction here. So people are going to be questioning things more. And so there needs to be some type of action happen there with thinking and communications.
Well, it's core to discrimination, isn't it? If we're bringing in new ideas, and if it is part of, not if, but when it's part of the whole world, the universe, that attracts what we need, whether we know it or not. Well, there's other activities happening here. Mars is also in active contesting, in a sense, what our philosophies are, what we consider home, family, nurturing, all of that in Cancer. What's our relationships? Like how's all this mix happening? Yes,
absolutely.
And even
changing.
Yeah, and Venus asking with those values, because they're all interrelated, but they're all working on their own terms. And Venus saying, well, is that really serving what is going to heal and make you operate as you can give in the world? Are you including everything? Are you excluding maybe what they need? What would you say about all that?
On that Venus square to Chiron Eris, it's like, are things fair and just, or how can we make them more fair and just? There's like maybe some big wound around that, and that needs to have some adjustment to that, and maybe treated in a loving and kind way, perhaps.
Well, the Mars is not happy in Libra. It's not a comfortable area in Libra, and so there is an essence of needing to find some sense of balance and harmony within relationship there. But it's challenged with the being square to Jupiter in Cancer. So there's going to be things that come up within family around emotions, and should focus on fairness and balance with relationship there.
The good sage advice from both of you: adjustment, and remember to have balance, because those emotions can want to speak and they want to come up. And it's like, wait a minute, what's your real goal here? Do you really care about the other person? Let's be a little softer. It's good thought. And bringing up just the pattern for the next one, this Yod, the finger of God. It's a pattern where one focal point is really needing strong adjustment to two other things that are in harmony. That when I say harmony, they're in a sextile. It's a connecting energy of give and take and a flow. It's a connective, to repeat that word. But that first point, it's a learning. It's not compatible. So it's like, how do I adjust? We have two of them. One is with it. Well, one's with the sun and moon. So that's all. Go ahead, Liz.
Well, I like to think of a Yod as like somewhat of a divining rod, and usually a divining rod, we're looking for water most of the time. And so if those two energies are working, that we're holding those 2 points, that are sextile to each other, and they're focusing on that, yes, it could be a challenge to find that water, but when you find what you're looking for, it's magical and it's helpful.
Now, quincunx is not an easy flow of energy in the whole yod. It's actually an imbalance. The quincunx is an imbalance between those planets. So there's some type of balance. As you look at a divining rod is vibrating, there's an imbalance with quincunx in relationship between the sun and the moon and Pluto, and the sun and moon and Neptune. Even though Neptune and Pluto have this easy flow of energy with a sextile there's that needing to bring some sense of balance here with change in the collective here with that first one. And then with the Black Moon Lilith, I think this is again a healing yod, and it's because Lilith is the focal point. I think it's asking us to look at our darker side here, our shadow side, and it having to heal that, because whenever Chiron and Hygeia aspect, there's a healing theme going on.
And it is really involved. You're right. We have that particular second one. I almost wondered whether to include it, but that's really the beautiful subtlety of astrology, is that when we begin to peer into it, because I'm remembering that with Hygeia, who is Hygeia? Hygeia is the daughter of Eclipsius, who is the father of medicine, and she herself is purity of right now of our thoughts, of Gemini that's collecting everything. But here we have Virgo that wants to distill, wants to define and regulate and bring some form to all this turbulence of this idea and that idea and something else. It's like, no, what are we weaving here? Is it going to be a carpet? Is it going to be a throw rug? A throw blanket, or just a thing on the wall, or what's happening? How's it being used? So there's a lot to digest, a lot to what you're bringing up is so strong, because on the other side, yes, when we have anything with the sun and the moon, that's what we're doing. Those two are like, hey, I've got a job here. But meanwhile, everything else, how am I refining it when the universe is transmuting all this change in front of me? It's a tall order. Would you say?
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, and just to put in the effort to work through it.
And willingness. Yes. The balance, as you both mentioned, and the harmony. And this is just part of the picture. There are flowing energies, and there's a kite, but more than that, there's these trines, and we put them in different colors to help differentiate. Any thoughts here? What stands out?
Well, the kite is between the south node sextile to Jupiter and Vesta and Juno, and then they're trying up to that midheaven and north node, even though it's a little bit loose, but it's not too loose. So and when it's has that kite formation, it's like, to me, that there's always some release point to that, because sometimes you can get stuck in that flow and just keep going in that groove. So that's a nice energy that there's an exit point or how to work through it,
which emphasizes really this need, as was brought up with K2, the south node, to release. Yes, discern. Justin, I see you looking.
Yeah, I was on this slide we got sun and moon trining Uranus, and on the last one we had sun and moon squaring Uranus.
Oh, rats, boo, hiss. Yes. Good point. Somehow
thrown off here a little bit, but anyway,
never mind.
I also was drawn to that grand trine that Liz pointed out there with the Jupiter and Juno and Vesta. I think it's a good flow of energy with water there, and I think that bodes well for just really growing our relationships and our love within our relationships right now with that.
Well, thank you for bringing up that point.
I don't want our people watching.
No, I reviewed it with Liz here, and somehow I was sure, but yeah, it just brings back the humility that life isn't perfect. Any rate, yes, indeed, there is that flow with our emotional, because those trines. Well, one is with water, and the other is sort of what is that purple one? You know what it is? Oh, it's because they're both pretty strong. Let's go on. Let's see what we have with these. This entire process is so internal. That's what I'm thinking, because I was looking at the aspects for all of it. We know that Mercury has just experienced this path that's following, as you say, Mars. We know that, and I may have that mixed up, but the point is that it's subtle. There's a lot of this that's subtle. It's very internal. And that's a natural thing.
Right. We have these talent trines, and with the kite, we saw the one already, but it was nice that you showed it on there again, because there's 3 of them here. And then the one that's been very active for quite some time is Saturn, Neptune sextile to Uranus and Pluto. So that one's, pretty active and has been active for some time and will continue to be active for a while. So, these flows of energy that, are, I think, asking us to tap into what our talents are and maybe hone those skills or start really using them, because maybe some of us haven't been using them much.
Or recognizing it, yes. Ignoring it, because Eris always is excluded, and we could be excluding it ourselves. I think that's one of the big messages that I've realized as she is conjunct there with Chiron, is there's very closely a degree that comes and goes, but they're just in tandem all the time. And there's that healing aspect. I think in the sense that conjunctions speak more along with that ongoing energy, that because of that transmutation between between the outer planets that you mentioned. Justin?
No, I think Liz covered it pretty well there.
Yeah. There's a point of Thales. Again, astrology says, hey, there's an opposition, and a focal point is going to bring that into some collaboration to get beyond collaboration of energies. That's going to get beyond the stressful points of just looking at what the opposite is. There's a way to work with a flow or a connective energy. And in this case, there's 3 of them. Mars is one, Jupiter is another. Mars of our energetic, let's get up and go. But again, being in Libra, how to make that balance of energies, of relationships. Jupiter caring about who's in, how nurturing, family, Cancer, self, and not just family of origin, but we've covered that idea of broader sense.
And maybe strengthening those ties with family and whatever that is, or who we are, groups that we're associated with, or our community.
Right.
Yeah, and the point of Thales are about a completion of a concept, and so we see the one that jumps out to me is the Mercury opposition to Pallas, and then, of course, connecting with Mars there. That this is there is a big thinking thing going on, as we've already brought up here with Mercury, and Pallas is also about patterns, seeing patterns. It's an intellectual aspect, and I think this one really speaks to communications with others, just really paying attention to that.
And then the other one with the South Node opposite the North Node in the midheaven, and then trying back to Vesta and Juno, it's like our relationships. And I know we've talked about this, but this is in Scorpio, so it's like really going deep and making stronger connections within our relationships, I say.
Yeah, it all sounds good on paper, and it's good to as a memoir. What I'm wanting to say is practice. It's challenging in practice in some ways, this whole picture of, because it's Mercury discriminating, the tug and the pull and the desires between of the discrimination. You know, when we want, I'm thinking of those yods, you know, that are really needing adjustments. They're never really going to make it work, but it's part of like if you put a rock in a tumbler, you keep tumbling and tumbling, eventually it kind of smooths down. But by then, what was a rock becomes a paperweight or a ring or something like that, you know, a stone on a ring. Hard to know.
Right. And those, the yods, those adjustment points, if we weren't aware of something not working smoothly, we might not even address it. So sometimes it has to be not so smooth so that we can address it and make a change.
Aha! Yes, I like that. That's so true. And relationships are trickier for some than others. It depends. What is it that you really want from that relationship? You have to really discern. Is it to expand? Is it just the relationship itself? What's your thoughts on all of that?
Well, I think, you know, with this Virgo new moon at 0 degrees, and then we're, you know, to bring back the concept we were talking early on, how there's another Virgo moon on the next new moon, and I think that, and the thing is that it's really, this is a really important time to improve things. I think that's really what we really need to lean into the Virgo right now. This is a really important time to improve things.
That makes good sense. Thinking as 0 degrees, Anne Ortley often looks at the chronological ages of any signs, which I love that concept. It applies when, at least for one's own chart. If you just look chronologically at all which one is working at what age or what steps into the next. But at 0 degrees, it's the seed, it's beginning. It doesn't know what fruit it has necessarily. It's
a whole new beginning.
Right. And so to really improve and to work from the very start of whatever you see, and allow the universe to come in and help support, and to listen when the universe does come in. That's a big part of it too.
Right. We haven't walked here before, so now it's a whole new time. It's like we've never been here before, so where do we go?
Right. Yeah. I think Justin will be back.
Yes.
Yes, indeed. And also in the sense that this is still a week away. I mean, we are in Leo right now. Today's the 17th. So this is exactly in a week. And perhaps we're still feeling the oats of the sun being in Leo. So it's a little bit harder to digest that it's ahead.
Well, and since Mercury's moving out of its shadow, you know, now getting being able to sort through some of all that extra information that came our way through the Mercury retrograde, because it always feels to me like there's a lot to sort through. And this was a pretty intense Mercury retrograde, in my opinion.
Let's talk a little bit about that. We have a moment. It's surprising in Gemini how, I don't know, any thoughts about that, Justin?
No, not really.
Yeah.
Well, it's just like there was so many, one moment it's going this way, and then it's like, well, no, it wasn't really going that way. Now it's going this way. Or it's like you had part of the information, but then people changed their mind, or the information changed. It was pretty interesting, in my opinion.
Mercury retrograde strikes again.
There we go. Awesome. Thank you very much. Yeah. Well, you know, Mercury often relates to myself. I was born with it, retrograde, but perhaps I have a lot of Gemini in my chart, and this one it snagged a lot of details is what I had, but it wasn't emotionally too wretched like some of them can be. And maybe for you too, Justin, you have some Gemini in your chart. Maybe that's why. But the point is, we're on the clear path. We're going forward. We have time to really sink in and distill. I like that thought of distilling, discriminating. How do we want to perfect and be that whole self? Don't forget the parts and let other people have their parts. Be joyous with it. Be glad for their celebration, right?
Exactly. We'll be back to talk about the next Virgo new moon soon.
It'll be an eclipse, yes. We can talk about all how we strategize and how the universe threw its ping pongs at us. Thank you, Justin. Thank you, Liz. And everybody have a great summer. We'll see you in the fall.
Thank you for joining an insightful conversation on Talk Cosmos, the show where Sue Rose Minahan and her panel of guests awaken consciousness by connecting soul growth patterns with astrology's energetic cycles. Be sure to tune in next week, same time, same place, to continue your journey through the roots of the cosmic pathway.